Hey, all right. I think we're up and running here. Hey, folks, I'm going to continue working on. We're building environmental hazards for a hexcrawl campaign in Ravnica called the Rubblebelt, where the city has fallen to rubble for potentially thousands of years, with alternate non-guild societies develop among sentient creatures and other things that in the campaign setting that we're building, your team basically crash lands in that area. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Good. All right, cool. I'm going to pick this up. I'll just keep on rambling while I do some social media boosting here while we get up and running. So I got about an hour today. I'm going to have to be really strict on my timing because day job has a ton of stuff going on that I need to stay ahead of the curve on. So no wiggle room today. We're we're building a hexcrawl system. And basically, it's hold on here, developing martial power system. The martial power system that I've been streaming at lunchtimes for the past year has been developing an alternate spell point system on kind of like somewhere between the space of key, superiority dice, and bardic inspiration. Kind of take all of that and jumble it together, and then have basically a breadth of 200 different powers, 50 of which are like cantrips, and then the other 150 are things that you spend mana on. And then all the martial classes get access to this stuff. So it's an alternate half casting system that barbarians, fighters, monks, rogues, rangers, and paladins can buy into. And so what we've been doing was developing basically a hexcrawl campaign to act as a playtest environment where it's going to be a West March drop in, drop out. Like you drop a quarter into the machine for the week, your character loads up, and then you just help basically scout and battle your way through the Rubblebelt, fighting monsters, taking on environmental challenges, and overcoming rogue enchantments and artifacts to survive. And it's basically an extended escort mission where there's a bunch of non-combat civilian NPCs that basically crash in the Rubblebelt with you off of a carrier ship like an ornithopter. It crashes. There's an undetermined number of non-combatants in a caravan that needs to be escorted through the Rubblebelt to safety. And so the campaign theme is you scout ahead in each tile of land that you encounter. You go through, secure that area safe so that the caravan can advance into it, and then you just keep moving forward until you either find a rescue condition or the way out. It's going to be running from level 3 to 9, basically for 4 months, level 3, level 5, level 7, and level 9. I've already been playtesting these mechanics at my home table from level 16 to 20 before I started the asteroid campaign, so it works really well at high levels. I just want to see how well it works at low levels to make sure that it remains viable, that it's fun, that it's not too complicated, and that's something that I'll be able to roll out as a product next year. So, and it'll probably be like January or February next year before it's done. So all my stuff has a really long pipeline, a long production pipeline. I've just posted that I'm live in the Ravnica DMs. Join? No, join. Yeah, I want to be a part of this group. Thanks. Weirdness. Reddit, Ravnica DMs, big, love that channel. Lots of cool ideas about Ravnica and D&D. I'm on the X Twitter platform at Phil Kearney. You can follow me, get notifications. Like the Spelljammer book just got released. I got a coupon here that you can click into to get 25% off. And then if you're interested in the kind of work that I do, or if you've seen any of my 1,000+ streams at this point, you can like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications when I'm live in the future. I stream art and design for games, not just D&D, but games in general. 11 times per week, days, afternoons, and evenings. Here's a full playlist of all 120 some odd episodes over the past year of developing the martial power system. And for those that are interested, the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book is published. Martial Powers is bundled here for a 33% discount. Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica Warlock Options is here for a 25% discount. and Theurgy magic as well. So these are what these book covers are: Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica, Theurgy ability castings, the color mana spell point variant rule system that complements the Warlocks of Ravnica, as well as the new Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book. So check all that cool stuff out. We're going to continue on. Here's the base templates. I've discussed a number of times before during these streams. Each of these squares is a 10-mile plot. It takes 5 hours for characters to explore, resolve, secure, and then take a short rest while the caravan advances to that tile. You then choose a new if you're going westward, you'll move to the left. So you start in this block here, choose one of these 5 tiles, secure it, move to the, like if you secured this tile, then you can choose any of these 3 tiles next. So you take this one, secure that, then you can move forward to any of these other tiles. I mean, you could always move backwards if you want to, but why regress, right? But so you just keep moving through tiles. So 5 hours, 5 hours, 5 hours short rest, 5 hours short rest, 5 hours long rest next day, 5 hours short rest, 5 hours, etc., etc., etc. So we're building, once I finish all of the variables that go into designing a hex, the inhabitants, the terrain type, hazards of the terrain, artifacts and enchantments that are rogue that are offer additional challenges, as well as dungeons that are like mini biomes inside of a tile. It's like a mini tile inside of a tile that will host either a rogue enchantment, artifact, or will be a spawn point for other creatures that you have to deal with on the surface. You go into the dungeon to clean out that as a source of monsters, so when you go back out, they won't spawn anymore, so you can secure rest points. Every time you finish a long rest, using the martial power system, you can swap out your entire kit of powers, regain all of your mana, rekey all of the color mana that you're using based within the type of character, whatever guild it is. You have 2 color types. Yeah, there you go. So right now, we are using the martial power system here. We first grabbed land cards, and now here's the playtest content that you can access to on my Patreon. And let's pull this down here and drop down to the end of the document. This is a read-only document. It's 115 pages long right now. And you can get free access to it in my Patreon, but while you're there, you can join my Discord if you're interested in the playtest. And if you want to have preferential seat and first rights to join the table, you can become a paying member of my Patreon as well. So right now what we're trying to do is finish out the last little group of obstacles and challenges and hazards that exist in each type of land that we have. These are all different land cards, like Dimir Aqueduct, Orzhov Crypts, Orzhov Treasury, Rakdos Mines, Overgrown Tomb, Golgari Rot Farm, Burrows Garrison, Mountain Factory, Towers, Stacked Housing, Gruul Sky Perches. These are all different land cards from Magic the Gathering, and given what their color, theme, and general aesthetic is where we're building the challenges and hazards. Like the Thriving Bluffs is a green and blue mana color inside of a red space. So it would have like extra monsters spawning. If you have monsters, it's going to double down on them. And part of the Thriving Bluff, any creatures are awakened creatures. So you can have conversations and have social encounters with them to expand the type of options. But that's for the Thriving Buffs specifically. The Teetering Peaks have vertical gaps that would have to be either flown or jumped or somehow repelled across. And then there's the risk of cave-ins and toppling of these different pillars. As you traverse them, they could become unstable, potentially causing people to fall or take crushing damage, or cut off different paths of travel, or open up new ones, or awaken creatures you didn't expect to get awakened. So these are different hazards that can be created. And we're way down here in the elevated green area. So there's elevated, there's level, and then there are sunken terrains. So when we look at the chart here, these are elevated here and here. This and this, these are sunken terrains, the V pointing down, and then there's level surfaces that are basically just like water level, right? So we have elevated green lands. We've already dealt with the flat lands in green. We've done with the sunken green lands. So the only thing we have left are the elevated green patches. So we have a Selesnya City Tree, which leans into white. We have a Simic Housing, which is in ruins because it's the Rubblebelt, and if you don't know, Ravnica has like Muad'Dib-sized worms. They call them world worms. They can be 20 miles long. And when they rise to the surface to migrate or during mating season or both, they basically destroy everything in their path. They're like half-mile circumference worms. They just destroy whatever they come across. So the Rubblebelts, they're called belts because there's these wide strips of where worms will just travel through, and the whole world is covered by a city. So when these worms surface and then go across and then sink back down again, they're basically just ripping across and destroying thousands of homes, countless billions of Zim worth of infrastructure. These, if they aren't priorities, there might not be enough funds to rebuild them. They can be left fallow for hundreds or even thousands of years, which gives nature a chance to reclaim it. Gruul loves that. Gruul thrive in these areas. It's an example of how society and civilization can't truly overcome nature, which is like the calling card of what the clans of Gruul are. So you can be any 9 clans, any of the 9 guilds, not including Gruul. Gruul starts off as your enemy. Being that you're invading their territory, they start off hostile to you. If you have the opportunity to create alliances with a Gruul tribe during your journey through the Rubblebelt, that's just a new resource that's available for you to play with. It's true hexcrawl style in that there's no plot other than survive and make use of the resources that you discover. Creatures, interesting land events, rogue sorceries, enchantments based off of cards, rogue artifacts, and equipment that you can find also based off of Magic the Gathering cards, all basically distilled into the 5e motif and rules using the color mana system that I built for casters. And then we're playtesting the actual martial power system so that when it's done, all 13 classes in the D&D 5e game will have one unified color mana system they can use for casting spells, using abilities and triggering effects. Also pumping mana into like artifacts and magic items that you have to like get extra uses of items. A lot of different ways you can manipulate mana once you have them all built out for all your characters. And monsters and NPCs can utilize these mana mechanics as well for them to have like hex wards to trigger different types of counter spelling effects that might make you not just have your spell taken away, but make you pay extra mana to keep it up because you're being taxed. All sorts of really cool stuff you can do using inspiration from the Magic the Gathering cards distilled into the 5e mechanics. Interesting ways to use spell points instead of spell slots to broaden the use of that resource to like replace proficiency. Like you can use this X amount of times your proficiency bonus. Instead, it can be you can use it as many times as you want, as long as you're willing to spend 1 or maybe 2 or 3 points of mana at a time, depending on what the class feature is. And of course, multi-classing allows you to blend your mana pool together. And we've done a lot of work to make sure all these things curve together well. I've been using color mana at my table for about 4 years now. In Eberron, Planescape, and Ravnica campaigns. It works fantastic. You gotta give it a try. Just check in the link down below to see a lot of free previews. So that's all my spiel. Let's get back to work. So Selesnya City Tree. This is an environment. It's housing. It's gone rogue over time. So let's see what kind of stuff may be there. Selesnya City Trees. What kind of hazards and risks could be in a furlough city tree that's gone rogue and overgrown itself? We already have various enchantments. Maybe, and then there's Simic Housing Ruins, which is basically the same as a city tree. Selesnya City Tree. What kind of hazards? If anyone jumps online, you are certainly welcome to throw out ideas, or you can drop ideas in my Discord if you want, or you can drop ideas into my ex-Twitter account at Phil Kearney. Be welcome. Let's see. Wooded Foothills, Treetop Village. Treetop Village, oh, I've got City Tree twice. Why would I do that? I can just have High Forest. I can just have Forest. Let's see, treetop villages can have non-guild. Oh, this would be oh, it's blue. Interesting. Treetop villages, huh? Can have avian community. It's not really a well, it can be a great hazard if they view you as being hostile. Avian community. We can have sap rolling. Treant defenders, Simic housing, blue-green bend. So it's not like a forest per se. Simic's weird because they mutate stuff. This could be awakened. Ooh, mimics and awakened structures. That's cool. Wooded foothills in a red space. That's interesting. Hazards in a foothill. What could those be? Be like barbed thickets. And then a high forest. Could be I'm thinking a high forest, the ground might be hostile. So like maybe carnivorous. Ooh, let's do something like this. Hostile insect colonies. That sounds kind of cool. Treant defenders and pacifying pacifying pollen, which would be like while you're in that space, it would reduce combat. It would be like sanctuary effects. Like as long as creatures aren't hostile towards you, you have to make wisdom saving throws to attack them each round. It's just the nature of Selesnya is to force peace upon its creatures. So the world tree could have like a spore or pollen that's released from its fruit or its cones or whatever it has that enforce a peaceful demeanor that the treants are immune to. That'd be cool. Gruul Sky Perch is aerial, aerial community. Skyrider community. And then what's another threat? There's my first 20-minute mark, so I still got 40 minutes to go. How are we doing on time? 1:30. I'll be done by 2:15. Yeah, that feels really good. Skyrider community. Maybe siege traps. Like Gruul Nation, they war a lot, so there could be warring clans against each other. So this place could have heavy defenses. So it's like ready to be invaded or infiltrated. So there's looking they have precautions against that. Wooded foothills, barbed thickets, ooh, landslide, mudslides. There we go. And we got treetop village. It's just a treetop village. So avian, ungilded, avian, ungilded, community, and perilous rope. How about like all these could have like rope bridges and platforms. Maybe precarious platforms. And then the high forest itself. Acidic ground foliage. And repelling vertical divides. I recognize there's not a lot of difference between a lot of these things. I'm just trying to create some language to go on. We could always refine. If I'm going to build this into something that we'll put on DMsGuild or something, I can always refine this into something more. We can work on diversity. Right now we're just filling in details. So that's all the lands. That's good. Now we're going to dive into colors. We're going to go with default creatures by color, dungeon bosses, black, red, green. So going with D4 dungeon bosses. We're going with D10 general creatures, and then dungeon bosses, and then we already have the environmental hazards that we just resolved. And then we have the enchantments. Enchantments, creatures, monsters, technically. And then and it has the hazards built into it. This seems to be building hazards directly into it, so maybe hazards isn't part of the random die. Maybe it's just that the hazards just exist in those terrains as needed, and then it's an issue of, is there going to be additional enchantments, monsters, and or dungeons? And if there's going to be an enchantment and creatures, there could also be dungeons on top of that. I think this random table isn't quite built properly, but I think it's functional enough. All right, so let's stop lollygagging. Let's get into... Let's go here. Let's go to D&D Beyond. Let's crack open the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. Where are you at? There we go. And district. Creatures by guild. Here we go. This should be able to help us fill in details fairly swiftly. Maybe. And various others that serve as familiars, pets, and mounts. Owls are popular familiars since they are viewed as symbols of wisdom and sound judgment. Sphinxes and archons are a rare non-humanoid that play a significant role in the leadership operation of the guilds. Azorius law mages craft one-eyed homunculus to perform menial tasks in Azorius buildings. These homunculus use statistics of regular homunculus, except they are wingless and have no fly speed. Sphinxes of judgment. Ooh. Azorius creatures. Giant owl. Griffins. What is a Felidar? I feel like I'm supposed to know that. Interesting. Huh. Dungeon bosses? No. Okay. Let's pursue that idea. Felidar. Rogue Sphinx. Archon. Homunculus don't technically have a lifespan, so there could be homunculus. What happens when we cycle through these? Kill those creatures. Destructive when confined. Brush striders thrive when they cannot wander garden areas. Indrix. Provid, Rock Tusk, Pack Beasts. That's fairly useful. Carrion crawlers. Okay, so creatures that don't have clear guild connections, such as carrion crawlers, Otyugs, creeps, and slink through the Undercity. Ors of spirits and Golgari zombies. Well, no, spirits. Spirits. Living spells. Oh my. That's a list. I guess we're gonna go checking out some critters. see. Creature. White. Sets. Sure. Let's start there. Angel, angel, angel. Pegasus is a thing. I don't want too much flying shit running around, though. Because they've already got a bunch of flying shit running around. I don't want to just give them things they can just lasso and run away with. That kind of defeats the Rubblebelt hexcrawl side of things, you know? Lumbering battlement. Oh my god. That's kind of neat. Caracal. Prowling Caracal. Okay. Wild dog. We have spirits already. Eagles. Bum dum ba dum dum. Oh, I can do multiples. Do that then. That's cool. All right. Stack it up a bit. Let's run through these again. Bizarre. Wow, those things are big. Blazing Archon. Stalwart. Hill Giants. You can go with Cloud Giant. Pegasus Hawk, have those. Devouring Light, fascinating. Dwemer Griffin, no. Divine Vistitude, Drawmed. Hound already. Spirit already. Spirits could be like ghosts, poltergeists, even like radiant shades. Shades. There's all sorts of stuff that could be. Ooh, wow. Hunted Lamasu. That's cool. Next 60. Just looking for something tasty in it. Ooh, you got a unicorn. I mean, potential yes, right? Just gonna search a little bit further to see if there's anything else tasty to help break up anything that seems too obvious. Oathsworn Giant, that fits the Cloud Giant motif that we have. Giants, fine. Parhelion, so cool. Phantom General, already have that on tap. Caracol, have you. Pupper. Solar of Songbirds. Skyline. Sky Tether. I think we're okay. Cool. Let's try this again. But this time, let's use instead. Oh, we didn't. Ah, there we go. White, and then commander we don't care about. Let's now try. Blue. Before we dive into this further, let's go to the. Oh yeah, good point. Because Boros could have been in there for sure. What we're looking at when I'm thinking blue, let's try Simic. Maybe Azorius. God, can I get away with doing color, like instead of specific colors, but monsters by guild? Can I get away with doing that? Let's try. Let's try to do that. Via Shino. Jesus. Solar's avatars? That's some intense shit, man. Let's see. Something like that. This might not jive. Yeah, that didn't end up jiving like at all. So that was kind of a bust. So there we go. We can just fish through shit like this. Shadow Spice. Shadow is black by nature. Shadow. Intellect Devour. Love it. Alip. God, all this stuff is just black to the core, man. Alip. That's another 20 minutes down. We still have 20 minutes to go. Wraith. What's a skittering horror again? Remind me. We'll do that. Skittering horror. find some Simic and then is that? No, Simic. Hybrids. Giant shark, Krasis. Interesting. Azorius, Simic. Is that and Demir. Okay, so let's go fish for is that for some blue. Pixie. Oh, yeah, good one. Pixie. Sprite. Yeah, Steam Method. White is aligned with cold. Let's see. Smoke method, steam method, ice method, magma method. Viashino, counterflux. And then let's go look at the general words of is that elementals. Yeah, okay. Ooh, that's a good point. Krasis. Merfolk. Giant crab. Cool. That works. And then black, red, green, black. So let's get into Rakdos a bit. Bandit, Cultist, Cackler, Magman. Magman, that's interesting. Ogre. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Ogre. Barb Devil. Let's go back to Demir. Specters. Ghost. Oh yeah, invisible stalkers. Ooh, Grick. That's a good one. Grick and Grell. I don't remember what a gloaming is. Remind me. A gloam wing. Nah, this seems a little too exotic. Let's quell that. Wraith, Assassin, Night Veil, Lazov. No thanks. Golgari. Let's dip into... Oh, no. Yeah, Golgari. Golgari's got a lot going on. Myconids. Crawl. Giant Scorpion. What else? Zombies. Oh yeah, just fucking zombies and skeletons. What else? Okay, that's so good. Shambling Mound, that's such a good one. Ooh, Troll. I will call that one red. Oh, nope, Trolls are green. Nope. Yeah, Trolls are green. That's right. God, so cool. Goblin. Well, hey, Super. What's up, my guy? Is this your first time seeing the color mana stuff that I've been doing? Oh, Medusa's a good one. That would be... I think that... Medusa feels... Weird that Medusa's... I guess it's black? I guess it's green. Because we don't see him anywhere else other than with Golgari. We're in the green space right now, so let's go to Selesnya. Right on. I'm doing great. I only have about 10 minutes left because this is my lunch. My lunch stream. I only put an hour in, basically about an hour into it per day. Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. So I've got all the land. We're building a hexcrawl using color land from Magic the Gathering. The 5 different colors are different types of lands. Here's the different land types that we have with some related hazards for each type of land. We're building out the creatures right now. Previously, we built out different enchantments for each color and the severity of them and the effects that they have in the 5e mechanics. So whenever you go into a hex, we can randomly generate what kind of hazards are there. We will generate the land tile, what type of land once we know the color, the creatures, enchantments, and hazards that are in that tile. And then that's, so as the characters progress from tile to tile, they're either in elevated terrain, level ground, or sunken terrain. And the way that Ravnica works is it's a worldwide city, and when areas go into decay and neglect, nature overtakes them. So on the surface, it looks like just like normal nature stuff you would expect. But once you start peeling open the surface, you see all that undercity and all that underdark rot that goes on down inside of it. Or if you're going into elevation, it has skyscrapers and floating islands that also can act as dungeon spaces. So I explained earlier in a lot of the other streams previous to this, you're an an aircraft, like an ornithopter that's carrying an untold number of non-combatant characters that crashes in the Rubblebelt in the middle, like hundreds of miles from nowhere, and it's just crazy, unbridled wilderness. And your job is to west march through the environments, and each hex is 10 miles, so it takes 5 hours to process each tile. At the end of, once you've defeated or ran away from a tile, you take a short rest, and then you choose a new tile. So you can basically do 3 tiles per day before you do a long rest. So one of these 30-mile zones is basically what you can push through. So it's a hexcrawl style campaign. We randomly generate what's in each hex, in each tile, and then the team deals with whatever's there. If they can defeat that tile, then the caravan of non-combatants advance into that tile, and you just continue moving westward until you find a rescue condition to be able to communicate with somebody that can come out and get you, or you find your way back to society. So I feel like Medusa is like actually physically green, but I feel like she might be. Well, I mean, they're traditionally Golgari. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess if anything, is that trolls are green also. We're trying to stick with just what Magic the Gathering offers us to translate stuff. But sometimes it's not so easy to tell. So, Jesus, yeah, we don't have a lot. We can probably finish out just the monsters, and then we'll come back and we'll look at dungeon bosses, like uniques that we'll run across, like Doppelganger. Medusa should really be a boss. That seems to make more sense. Selesnya, let's go. We already did. Let's go back to Gruul. Let's see what cool Gruul stuff is out there. Beasts, elementals, giants, hydras. Jesus, Gruul's got a lot going on. Yeah, elementals make sense. See. Giant boars. Wildcats. Oh yeah, hill giants. Those make sense here. Fire giants. Hill giants. Ooh, hydras, that's cool. Ooh, hydra would make a great green boss. Cyclops. Just need a few more red ideas. Berserker, we have Ogre already. Cyclops, sure. Druid, Stone Giants. Sure. Let's go find some more red ideas. Boros was a bust on red. Gruul was pretty good for us. Let's check out his Zed again. Oh, we already have Steam Method, Smoke Method. Not really. Just the Chain Devil that I added as a boss. Chain Devil. Oh yeah, you're right. Like imps. Imps aren't bad. There's so much. We got so much black stacked up already. We have a Barb Devil down here. Shadow Wraith. Yeah, I don't see how they. I'm looking for red specifically right now. Like red grunt stuff. What's fucking goblins? Duh. No, I have goblins already. Goblins, ogres, Viashino. Lizard folk, they're kind of reddish. Yeah. I think Kobold would be okay. I don't think there are Kobold. No, yeah, Kobold kind of fall into that. Viashino kind of has that lizardman, kobold, dragonkind, half dragon, like dragon motif. It like encompasses a lot of stuff. And I should, instead of goblin, I should put like goblinkin, which would be like goblins, bugbears, hobgoblins. Yeah. Goblins, hobgoblins, bugbears. Technically, ogres are at the high end of that. So I should probably replace that with lizardkin. I kind of like group those all together, like scaling toughness. But yes, you're right. That's worth mentioning. So I'm in no way discounting the idea. Thank you for that. I haven't looked at Orzhov. Let's go look at Orzhov real quick. Sure. Vampires make a good boss for black. Bat swarm. Bats. That's black, buddy. You want red. Why are you looking at black when you want red? Ooh, gargoyles. Interesting. Where's another red source? Just look at that again. Elementals. They blend two colors, so like it's a strange space. Golems. Those are colorless technically. Azers. That works. And just one more. I just need something gritty, rocky. Zorn. There we go. So there's a batch of base critters that we can pick from. They won't always make sense with the land. It's just for inspiration. How about that for my timer? All right. Well, that's all the time I have. I've got a strict schedule today, so I got to bolt out of here. When we come back on Friday, we'll finish off the dungeon bosses for each of the. Maybe we should do dungeon bosses by guild specifically. So there's 10 different dungeon boss types. All these are just general. This could be refined. We're just doing some playtesting here. If we can refine this down to something a little bit more sharp, that'll be good for the final product. But we can expand on that in time. But yeah, once we get these built, once we finish off the dungeon bosses, then we'll be able to start generating, like randomly generating some tiles just to do some testing here, just to see what we would do to blend all the elements together to see what kind of an environment we can create. We'll do that for Friday and then Monday and Tuesday. On Thursday, so by the 4th, by potentially the 9th, we can have a playtest up and running for this. So that's it for right now. I'll be back tomorrow morning to do more Eberron tokens. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me, Super. Appreciate you, man. And I'm out of here for now. I will catch everybody in the future. See y'all.